Hi, I'm Steve Gladys here at the George Mason Enterprise Center. Glad you're back. We're talking about my book, Smile, Breathe, Listen, 3 Mindful Acts for Leaders. And we've already talked about how important smiling is to connect with people really quickly. By the way, kids smile about 400 times a day, and adults only smile about 20 times a day. That's probably why grandparents would rather hang around their grandkids and not their own kids. Okay. The second thing I wanted to talk about is the idea of breathing. Now, we all breathe pretty naturally. It's pretty autonomic, right? It's run by the autonomic nervous system. That's why you can go to bed at night and not die, because your body still continues to function. But there's a particular kind of breathing I'm talking about. It's breathing that's called mindful breathing, or it's the core of what's called mindfulness. And you're probably going to read a lot about this in the next few years. There's already been a ton written. Time Magazine's done things on this. PBS has done all sorts of programs on mindfulness. Mindfulness was sort of generated. It's been around for thousands of years. Buddhists have used it, but the idea of attaching it to Buddhism, so people think, oh, this is a religious thing. It's not really at all. In fact, when it came to the United States, mindfulness was actually generated about 30 years ago from a guy named John Kabat-Zinn, who is a scientist from MIT who was teaching at the University of Massachusetts Medical School, and he was trying to work with patients who had chronic pain, and he taught them mindfulness to calm them down, to really just calm down the mind. And all mindfulness is just sitting there or lying down and just closing your eyes and breathing in and out. That's all it is. There's no more to it than that, except that anytime your mind starts to wander, you want to bring it back to your breath. And the reason you want to bring it back to your breath, which I call the big switch, is that when you come back to your breath and you start focusing on that, you take your brain away from monkey mind, bouncing all over the place, to your physical being, which automatically kind of calms you down. The brain can control what goes on in your body, and sometimes the brain actually tricks the body. It starts thinking about things in the future that might happen, that could, worst case scenario, happen, or things in the past that you regret, and it forces the brain to think. When it forces the brain to think about that, it starts giving off chemicals that actually speed up your heart and make you feel like you're being chased by a tiger, when in fact, really it's your brain working on you. So one of the quickest ways to get away from that brain-centered kind of monkey mind is to switch and think about your breathing and focus back on your breathing. So as one instructor once said, it's like thinking about clouds going by. You can recognize the clouds and the thoughts, but always bring your mind back to the sky and think of your mind as the sky and problems as things that go by as clouds. One area that MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction, talks about is this whole idea of practice. And what they mean by practice is that you actually literally practice this. If you practice this day after day, month after month, what ends up happening is the prefrontal cortex, particularly the central nerves of your prefrontal cortex, begin to anesthetize, if you will, the amygdala, that fight-flight mechanism in your brain. So, and when that happens, it keeps you more resilient, more resistant to actually flipping your lid. Anyway, this is Steve Gladys. Hope you enjoy the book. It's called Smile, Breathe, Listen. 60 pages. You can read it in an hour. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks very much.